I still feel Omega hungry, but I'm also hungry for some high-level Age of Empires 4 action. Let's get underway. This one should be good. The Muslim versus Vortix. And the reason it should be good is the Civ choice. I mean, the Muslim, boo. Look at this. Look at this normie over here. HRE on Hill and Dale. Wow. Where did you come up with that idea? Like, Reddit? Yeah? Actually, no. Don't even need Reddit. Reddit probably had more creative ideas than this. All you had to do is just open up, I don't know, any competitive tournament and, like, you know, 50% Hill and Dale games. Well done. Vortix, on the other hand, is like, Mongols. And that is why this is intriguing. This is why I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Because Mongols are, like, you know, old school. You'd be like, yeah, Mongols versus HRE. Well, clearly he's going to try and field age rush him. In the past, I would have agreed. I would have been like, yep, that's definitely the strategy. That's the one you employ. Like, you know, zoop, zoop, tower rush, screw your opponent over. But that was the Mongols of days past. This is the Mongols after they, like, settle down in China. They vibe a little. They're like, we're going to be economically prosperous. This is a very different style of Mongols these days. Usually what we're actually seeing more is not just Silver Tree, but greedy Castle Age Mongols. And I'm kind of intrigued to see if Vortix is going to attempt something like that. I will say to begin with, he kind of got screwed over a little. Like, you're on Hill and Dale, and your stone outcroppings can't actually get much further away from you. Like, actually, what the... This is a scam. I mean, it's similar distance, but, like, this one's more exposed. That one's at the back. The Muslim got the type of Uvu placements allowable that the Vortix would have preferred in this situation, right? Like, I wonder if that should be an option. Like, just talk about how good or bad. Dude, oh, that is... I want to see that as a mod. Like, you just get the swap sides option if both of you agree. You just, like... You false advertise your opponent. You're like, yeah, I have a really great placement. I've got deer, gold, and wood all in range. And it was like, swap, 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 swap. And it just gets there, and it's like the gold and the wood are as far away as possible. And then the deer are nowhere near as CC. Oh, dude, I love the troll on that. Another one of the ideas that go on my terrible list of ideas. But yeah, this is overall, like, not too bad. Vortix will still go for the passage play, mainly because, like, on a map like Hill and Dale, getting assaulted early is a little bit difficult. Playing the choke points, somewhat defendable. And also, you're up against the HRE. And it's interesting, the Muslim, he's already taking that turtle stance. You can see, because his gold is on the front line, actually fairly far out and somewhat exploitable, he would take the preventative measure of walling himself in straight away. This possibly plays towards Vortix's advantage, though, because I don't think Vortix wants to play at this age, right? I don't think he wants to get aggressive at this stage in the game. I think he's aiming a later timing. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes into Silver Tree and into trade. We've seen Vortix do it before. And I think this is a type of map where it's somewhat easily defendable, right? Out to this natural trade point, like, you can just have a Silver Tree at the back, or even actually better, you can have it over here. You can set up your outpost network here, the outpost block here, outpost block at the front of your base, and then you just have to outpost block over near the marketplace and the relic. So overall, you can actually get some kind of optimal layout of where your outposts go here. And it would probably make Silver Tree pretty desirable. You're kind of trying to match greed with greed there, though. That's my only concern. And it does maybe offer up the opportunity for Demism to just take full control of the game. Because, you know, something that gets highlighted time and time again by players is they say when you're playing against HRE on Hill and Dale, if you choose to race them towards castle, you're racing them to your doom. Right? You're just basically throwing yourself in the pit. Because they are very hard to beat the castle in general due to how efficient their economy is, due to Holy Inspiration giving that 40% buff. But then on top of that, once they reach castle, like, if you're going greed yourself, who's preventing them from getting their hands on the relics? And if they get their hands on the relics, how the hell are you ever winning the game? Like, they're getting 300 gold per relic banked up to free, so they're getting 900 passive gold. That's a phenomenal gain. To put that in, like, eco standards, like villages, that's 22.5 villages for free in your economy. Huge advantage, especially for someone that is just infinite. So definitely a case of Vortix will have to find a way of being aggressive, at least find a way of controlling the midfield. I love that he's gone in with Mongols to get eyeballs on what his opponent's doing. So the Khan's going to get eyeballs on the tech up and the layout of the base. And this is going to inform him if there's any sort of cheesy strategy out of Demism where he tries to get aggressive. And then from there, Vortix can choose whether he tries to rush castle and get lancers out to defend, or if he has to move out a little bit earlier, stage just outside his opponent's base. Because otherwise, I feel like if you're just going castle, you're not going to beat Demism to it. And when the first knights come out, you can double up your production, but they're not going to have an inherent edge over the knights of Demism. And Demism's eco will be able to kind of flex you a little bit more in that initial phase as you're prepping, like, you know, your districts and getting your initial like lancers out, that I think he'll be able to grab 2 relics uncontested. So we'll see if Vortix wants to get like ultra aggressive as a response to this. Like, he's played this type of matchup enough. Probably not Mongol HRE, as we highlighted. Not really a common Civ matchup at the moment, especially for Hill and Dale. But you understand that you are kind of on the clock. I think that's exactly why Vortix puts a limited number of people on gold. In fact, if you look at the breakdown, currently only 2 people on gold, 14 on food, 5 on wood. So it looks like he's floating enough wood to just set up the pasture. And I think his timing is probably going to be around like the 7-8 minute mark, where he needs to flood out onto the midfield and control it. Because by that point in the game, the Muslim's going to be close to, if not at the required surplus, to build castle. And he will likely go straight for it. But for the moment, he's stopping off for a few horsemen, which I'm totally fine with. I think this is the new kind of standard. Like, if you want to play Hillendale HRE, it used to be that players would wait until castle. It used to be they wait until get knights out. Like, I don't think you can do that anymore. I think that's very much kind of like throwing the game. Just because, like, at that stage in the game, you're moving out your prelate, like, you already want to have ground. You already want to have your opponent possibly on the defensive or have kind of tempo on the mid-map. Otherwise, you're responding to your opponent, and that delays you. That maybe delays your rank speed from banking relics by 1, 2, maybe even 3 minutes. And that is really crippling. Like we said, you know, that's up to potentially 900 gold per minute being missed out on that could be in your eco for a few minutes. And that's an insane booster that allows you to quickly unlock Imperial and realize your full kind of technological advantage as the HRE. So, nice push out. Gets rid of the villager, and now posture to deny. Look at this. Vortix, he did go in for the racks. He's trying to double produce the spearman now. They should be quick enough to get out. It'll be a saving grace here. And this is the flimsy risk of the Mongols right now. Really feels like a Civ that is kind of forced to go for these 1-2 pasture plays before getting a military building. And it's very predictable and well read by the Muslim. And that's the other advantage in this matchup. He understands that he should be able to push a few units across, and his opponent shouldn't have a military force just yet. That being said, there definitely was another way Vortix could have done this. If he chose to go into the Deers with a Gur, like, he could have floated himself for a lot longer. Wouldn't have been held hostage by this requirement to get the pastures early on. And I think that would have left him content long enough that he would have naturally been able to get into racks, archer range, whatever it is earlier on. And he could have been out in the midfield. But instead, because he shooed the Veteran Khan, the Hardened Khan in his opponent's base, because he was just prowling around early on and wasn't dropping off sheep, it became very obvious to the Muslim that his opponent must be building pastures for him to be playing this confident and loose with his Khan. And here we go. Vortix will sneak out this villager at least. So that's what he was trying to do. You can see he's doing it again with multiple villagers. Very risky, but very needed. Like, the potential downside of losing these villagers doesn't, like, even remotely compare to the denial of stopping the prelates from gathering up these relics. And Vortix is just keeping the patrol going. There's a weakness right now for the Muslim. As the Muslim, he went very naked. He kind of done that typical greedy HRE thing where they don't pad themselves with a second military option. They only go for the fast one, the horseman, right? Which leads into Knight Slayer. It makes a lot of sense for what HRE wants to do. But from a Mongol standpoint, in this type of game, like, Vortix is a very smart cookie. He'll understand that his opponent won't go for a second military building until he completes castle. So if he just pushes spears, moves out towards these outpost locations next to the relics, like, he's very kind of well padded to delay the Muslim's power spike timing. In the meantime, Vortix is soon to reach his own. Once he cracks castle himself, he also benefits from a lot of gold boosts. Remember, the step readout gives an additional 50% drop off, which means you're going to be able to kind of keep pace at the beginning of this castle age feud if you can lock the Muslim out of these easy relics. And that's what he's doing. Looks like that's going to be a denial. The Muslim will look to shift away. The prelate might make it back to the walls. I think he should be fine to do so, as it is only the Hardened Khan. Yeah, I say that. If he gets any more pokes with the sticks, that's going to be the end. But prelate does make it behind the walls. And that's going to slow down the Muslim's timing. It's going to take him about at least another minute to get out here. Like we said, he went for the stable. Now he has to go for the racks, right? Because he didn't have that already. Because he didn't have a composition of units going out as only horsemen. This is very greedy and very appropriately punished by Vortix. And by the way, all these games, I should have highlighted before, these are all on the standard. We're not on the pop right now. It's hard to get any of the players playing on the pop when Golden League is literally just around the corner. That's one of the big kind of problematic issues I think they're going to run into with this testing. Is like, Unless you find a way of incentivizing pro players to play on the pop, they're not going to do it. It just doesn't make sense, right? If there's always tournaments going on, they're going to want to be on the official. They might, you know, if they're out of a tournament and the tournament's still going on, they might experiment with the pop, trying to get ahead of the curve. But overall, like, you know, if you've got an active tournament you're looking towards, you want to be playing on the version of the game that you know is going to be there, not the one that could possibly be there. A lot of delay here. The Muslim, like, we're past the 10-minute mark. He still hasn't got a single relic. He's now getting the man-at-arms out, but there's the tech up. The Muslim, he's going to struggle to get his hands on this as easily as he would like, because now the Springwood upgrades come out. And this is where it gets really wonky, I think, for the Muslim. 1 or 2 man-at-arms is just not going to be good enough. And remember, these Springwood emplacements, they can just target out the Prelates instead. You see Knight's just trying to bypass this. He might, like, this is the gamble he has, actually. Vortix, he's postured near the 2 closest relics, but he hasn't defended the other ones. So Dumuslim could be very crafty. If he's able to assassinate the Khan, he could just sneak out through the center and pick up these relics. It's pretty gambly, but I think at this stage you kind of have to take that gamble. Because I think this is about to be buffered away. There's enough spearmen here to deal with 1 or 2 man-at-arms as well. Yeah, there it is, just backed away. So no Spirit upgrade in these outposts right now. Looks like Vortix did go for the arrow slits, so maybe a little bit of a misplay there. Definitely think like the play would have been to have just waited for this round placement. She had the spears in position. But I guess he wanted to be able to patrol with the spearmen, so he needs another outpost if he wants to deny this. I think the Muslim is going to be able to crack this first outpost into relic pickup in probably the next minute and a half. But it's still quite the hefty delay, right? Like, if we look at the income per minute now, you can see this is where Vortix starts to accelerate. The Muslim needs this gold soon, because Vortix is likely going to be pushing, yep, Lancers. Double the number, in fact, as he has double stable here. So he'll be able to prowl around the midfield and he'll have more gold investment here. You can see the initial Lancers coming out. The outpost, also given the Yam movement speed, makes it problematic for the Muslim, and it means that this is now a fragile state. If he moves the man-at-arms in to attack the outpost, then Vortix, with the maneuver arrow, wraps around and snipes out the Prelates. At the end of the day, it's not about winning this battle here. It's about winning the war. And the war is won or lost on these relics. So well identified by Vortix. And you have to question now, what is the pivot for the Muslim? Like, do you diversify further? Do you go for a new unit type? Because right now, it's just these racks. And look, he did do it in the end, guys. He wrapped around. He went for the further away relic. He's got 1 in the bank. And this is the problem. Vortix, because he didn't extend this network, he never knew. So this was a freebie. It took longer than Dumuslim would have liked, but he's starting to pick up those relics. And my concern is Vortix, he's so close to it, right? He can't see the bigger picture. He's so invested on this 1 or 2 details in this case, with the relics at the front of the base, he doesn't even think that Dumuslim's going to snake around him. But he is. And he's going to go all the way across the map, and this is going to go unnoticed as well. Vortix, missing a trick here, is going to be punished. And he tried to count this out by getting his own prayer tent, but this is suboptimal. His prayer tent is all the way back in base. His shaman have to run all the way out. They aren't getting Yam. And also, oh my god, is he going to beat him? He might beat him. Yeah, this is going to be tight, but I think the shaman's going to beat him to the punchline. The 1.15 movement speed, after being yammed up as well, is going to allow him to snatch a relic away, and it looks like he might be able to deny. And this could be a big deal, because now Dumuslim has to take a fight that isn't working out for him. Lancer's trying to wrap round. Prelate isn't going to be exposed. Nice regrouping coming out there from Dumuslim. But Vortix always able to fall back to the protection of these outposts, and he's going to yoink the shaman relic away. And he wraps around the west side. He's not even going to try the wall. He's like, bye! Just rubs his hands together. Cackles to himself. And Dumuslim, he has no choice but to try and gamble on that relic, but we know he's not getting at the outpost. The spearman here, there's no way he'll be able to pick that up. The wrap around the Lancers with the Yam movement speed. This is the mistake. Dumuslim, he goes in range of the outpost, and that gives it over. Vortix able to yoink him away. Wall on the sides, the Knight chases in. Oh, he snipes him though. Nice denial there. Enough damage coming out. Vortix realizes too late. Dumuslim able to kill off the shaman who picked up the relic. And Spearman will back away for the moment. And now, well, the greedy play is somewhat usable to Dumuslim's advantage, because Vortix just pulled the relic away from the outpost. Away from where Yam is, away from that advantages. But as a result of that, look what Dumuslim done. He got baited. Oh no. He loses half of his troops. Vortix takes the edge here, pushes forward again. And now this is where Muslim needs to be careful. His formation is a bit fragile. Too many Langstack in small groups like this means you get picked apart. Chase in, instantly dead. Gets obliterated, can't even min-max the damage from the swings. And this is getting frustrating now. Muslim, yes, he was able to yoink that Relic in the midfield, but no more gain since. And Shaman sneaking out again. As it stands, only one banked for Vortix, but he can increase that number quite quickly at this rate. Muslim, this has to be getting frustrating. I'd say he's losing his hair over this one, but too late. Too late. I mean, that's the value of going bald. Both these players identify it. No matter how much your opponent stresses you out, you can't mold over it. But I don't think that's going to stop Muslim stressing nonetheless. Still only on one Relic. No way of boosting up either. He's forced to double down on his castle, so he can't even rush Imperial here. And he knows if he stonewalls himself in, his opponent will take all the Relics, so he has to contest him. As his opponent's already shown a sign to go for the Relics himself. A nice stab out. The Prelate taken out by the Spearman. Spearman quick to move away with the Yam movement speed. And a second Prelate coming in. Vortix not able to deal with that. And the Harrislit's now going to focus. Outpost finally giving attention across to the Prelate. Prelate might try for a wall play here. A few Spearmen in the mixer, but not able to protect him. Is going to go down. Vortix will deny him again. And all the while having the clear vision, something that Muslim didn't have the edge over. Muslim not able to gap close his Spearman. It looks like the Lance will be able to shift away. And this is becoming frustrating. The count is increasing up to 10 Lancers now. And Muslim too predictable. This static force of Spearman, Langsneck, and Man-at-Arms is obvious whether he's going left or right. And that gives Vortix the flexibility to respond and get in position ahead of time. Now with Magos out of position, that's maybe the weakness. Vortix, a little bit of a mistake. Never actually built Mago on the right side. The outpost will be burnt down now. Prelate shifting out. Muslim will finally be able to get his hands on his second Relic. But it has to be said at what cost? Because by the time you get your second Relic, I think Vortix might be getting his third. You see the Shaman shifting out. So yes, you do get 2 Relics. I'll keep you afloat. But because your opponent went for the tent himself, he's getting 300 gold. And he's going for a second TC as well. Vortix, so smartly played. Remember, one big detail that a lot of Mongol players have been noticing is the step redoubt gives you a lot of gold. A lot of gold. If there's one resource you're just drowning in, it is gold. Which is historically accurate for what, you know, Genghis Khan done to the warring chieftains. But look up your history and see what I mean. But that's the thing that matters here, right? If you've got all this gold, all you need to do is drop a marketplace and trade for the wood. Wood that's very valuable, hard for you to find an influx of. But should you trade for that wood, you'll be able to float the 900 wood required for a second TC, and then you get strong. Speaking of strong, Mangonels causes a nuisance for Muslim. Gonna stand their ground, going for additional shots. They have to go for the splinter groups. And now the wraparound with the Spearman with the Lancers. Although the Mangonels getting burnt down somewhat, the count is going in favor of Vortix, the military count. Look at the butchering. Muslim only killing 20 milli, losing almost 70 now. And that's going to be a breach. Vortix sees the opportunity to go in. Mangonels moving in. More Mangonels being built up. Could even go for Trebs if he chooses in this type of situation. But Mangonels right now, that's the deal breaker. Muslim, I think also, did he not get... Okay, he did get the movement speed. It didn't look like it in that fight. So he did get the marching drills. He has got the increased movement speed, but it's not really feeling like it's impactful here. And I think what's negating that factor is the power of Yam. Although the Yam isn't coming into effect in this middle fight due to no outpost being dropped here, it is there in a lot of these other engagements, and it has prevented Muslim from getting the edge mobility-wise in these engagements. And it's just giving a lot more value over to Vortix. It's allowed him to wrap around and snipe out the Prelates, get on the squishy underside of your formation and avoid the spears at all costs. And that's been the difference as now Vortix breaches the base in onto the village account. And there are no textiles here, so Muslim can't hang around for even a second. That's going to grind his eco to a halt. And look at the numbers now. I mean, if you covered the names and the civs, you'd think it's the other way around. You'd actually think Vortix, the HRE player, floating so much additional gold. But it's not, folks. And now the military building's being burnt, something that Muslim can't really afford at this stage, as he's still trailing on the military count. Magos. Well, anytime you push Langsneck out, those Magos can actually exploit that. Didn't hit that one, though. Langsneck, they're just free targets. They're so squishy. I'm surprised he's pushing so many of them out. He kind of feels like he needs it to get through here. But the Magos are the bigger problem. He's going to push in now. Turn around fire coming out. Spearman Battalion being assaulted. Line spreading out. Armor arrows being fired. Mangonel's trying to back out. The villagers pushing in, trying to burn one of them down, but there's still so many left. 3 active and moving away. Villagers chasing on. No split up, no split up. Instead, focusing on the front line to make sure the military force wins, and they can turn around and clean up the villagers. As the villagers will be able to get through the mangonels and back away. There's enough troops here to repel Vortix away. A big win, a needed win for Demuslim, but damage done. His eco down to 46. Meanwhile, Vortix up at 70. And this is a stinger right now, because although you do buffer Vortix away, what is the damage at the end of this? He slows down your economy. He costs you some villages. He costs you a decent amount of infrastructure. Also, keep in mind that he has 2 TCs and 3 relics. So it's not like you can instantly now just run out on the field and take those relics you've been waiting on. Instead, you have to take value out of Vortix's base directly. And Vortix, he's building up new troops. He's going to be ready to defend himself here. And he has a Yam movement speed on the home field. Or at least he should, but the Deerstone, oh my god, is still out of position. Now, Langsneck will wrap around, but the Lancers are targeting them down first. A little bit of prejudice shown against the weak, flimsy unit. Not enough health on them to tank here. They'll get some free value on the villagers. Villagers without textiles. And for good reason, Vortix hasn't been going textiles, because why would he need it? When's he been pressured? Man-at-Arms will move in to try and punch the Mangonel, but the difference on the home front is Vortix has the repair crew there to keep it alive. And the Muslims' feeble attempt at an assault will be repelled. The Muslim still no room for a tech up. You know, people probably think, oh, why is he not just going for Imperial Age? Why is he not rushing there? Because to do so would be to show weakness. His army just got slaughtered. If he didn't go on the offensive, he knew Vortix would renew that offensive. And now Vortix confident will look to move out again. And that means the Muslim has to double down on Castle, reinvesting in a new army to protect himself. Understanding that it's very potentially possible that Vortix is going to beat him to Imperial. All you can do is hope that his Imperial is going to be stronger. And I gotta say, this is one of those matchups where I'm not sure it is. Like, Mongols are kind of deceitful in this one because they have the siege advantage, right? Like, they have movement speed with Yam that can match what you have with the marching drills. Then, when you talk about if you get into a Springal battle, well, guess what? They have better Springals because they get these improved versions of the shutter triggers. So you can't actually match them directly like that. Not to mention the issue of having to set up multiple siege workshops to begin with to push out those siege units. So really, the Muslim saving grace is these Langsneck, but these Langsneck need to be enabled. If anything, I'd say to Muslim, maybe needs Horsemen. Horsemen could be a good shout here. The problem is if your opponent's already got the infrastructure to push out Spearmen, it feels a little bit dicey. And the Lancers can somewhat engage in. Also, the issue of dealing with Mongols with Horsemen is because they have Yam, their Lancers can gap close your Horsemen. Speaking of gap closing, they try to poke him. Langsneck just trying to back up again. A reasonable ratio composition coming out from Muslim, having a nice mix of Man-at-Arms, Spearman, and Langsneck, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. It's such a flimsy force. After losing the main battalion, he's going to lose a lot of ground, and this time Vortix is here to stay. Last time he was here, no outposts. This time, he's going to have the Yam. And I can already feel the Yammening intensifying. And it is going to be a scary, scary situation for the Muslim. Still no anti-siege. His only anti-siege is rushing in, but he's rushing up. The Muslim, with that discount on his Imperial Age, going for the Palace of Swabia. It's time for the Love Hotel, a.k.a. the Villager Printer. Vortix, he might find himself on the clock, but he's in good position to be on the clock, folks. If your opponent was teching up, where would you want to be right now? This is the place to be. And this is all enabled by the fact that the Muslim threw away his army in his opponent's base. It gave Vortix the confidence to push out like this, and the confidence to push in. Mangonel is being built up more. Rax on the front, trying to replenish the Muslim up to 20. Vortix over double the count of 44 military right now. Emergency repairs will buy some time. Mago shots coming in. Butcher a few of the villagers. Oh my god, the farm's just gone. This is the value, by the way, folks. Do this. Whenever you want to target out farmland areas, take out the mill with a Mangonel, and you take out everything around it. These farms only having 300 health. It's so easy peasy. And it is slowing the Muslim down. He needs a lot of food right now. There it is. Shots in again. Damage done. It's not about killing the villagers. It's about killing the farms. Farms that he then has to replace and cost 75 wood to do so each. Shots in once more. And so trivial. This is hitting hard, folks. Also remember, this is all adding into the Mongols' economy. He's banking every time he does this. 25 food, 25 gold, 25 food, 25 gold. Yeah, you know what? The HRE, they're an eco powerhouse. But so are the Mongols when they get to raid like this. This is all freebies. Burn it all, he says. 50 gold, 50 food, 50 gold, 50 food. Oh, it feels so good. If you're a Mongol player right now, there's a smile on your face. Because the Muslim is just making generous donations to the Vortix Foundation. Deeper he goes. More farms, please. Going for the TC this time. Needs to be a little bit careful. Is continuing to extend outposts. This is very important as well. Remember, Hill and Dale, you have very finite room. If you start denying area like this with the outposts, the Muslim's ability to scale a new army shuts down. And right now, he's shutting down quick. The only thing he's got going for him is potential quality, right? With the Langsneck upgrade, with the man-at-arms upgrade. But where's he getting the resources for this? Like, his food is dead. His gold is pretty dead. Like, everything is feeling dead. If we look at the income per minute, oh my god! That stings at the eyes if you're an HRE player. That should never be happening 25 minutes into a game. But that's where we're at. Courtesy of the way Vortix played this with the pressure and the way he scaled up with the secondary TC. And now, was that a bombard being sniped like that? Such a freebie, and he doesn't even get a sprint for his trouble. And this, I mean, this could be curtains closed soon on the Muslim. He needs some reprieve, needs soon. Going into the Culverin, that could give a little bit of a wiggle room, a little bit of a saving grace. Vortix, of course, not planning to go up to Imperial means that he's going to be weak in that front in terms of range with the anti-siege. But he's definitely got plenty of siege in total here. They're pushing in. E-repairs forced out very early here. I know that sounds like something to do with esports, but I mean, these are esports players in fairness. But no, that's just emergency repairs. When it goes on cooldown, there might be a hard assault, a hard push in. Sprills, mostly being sniped out. But overall, fine. Vortix continue to just extend that outpost network. Getting a strong foothold into Muslim's base. The Muslim, without the emergency repairs for 30 seconds. Culverin seen, jump in, straight on top of it. Sprills going to snipe it out. Not a good trade. 1,000 resource unit. Maybe you got rid of a 500 resource unit for it. But here come the villagers again. The Muslim, he made this gambit play before he's going to make it again. Mangonel's focusing on the main contingent at the front, trying to win the military side of this fight. Backing up now, retreating away with the arm movement speed, but not quick enough. One Mangonel could turn around and end a lot of this, though. Textiles are there for the Muslim. Mangonel continues to retreat away. Villagers being butchered by the military force still standing as the Muslim loses the main fight. He gets rid of the siege battalion, but at what cost? What is the price, and is it too high? Vortix now up 109 eco. The Muslim down at 64. Not even cracking the beautiful 69. And this was meant to be a saving grace. The villager printer was meant to save him, producing a villager at 25% the cost every 5 seconds, but with no standing army, he has no way of protecting the investment. Vortix trying to force his hand here, moving in with the Lancers. But the Muslim, posturing for the moment, forced the garrison. That's going to expose the wood line, and that's going to shut him down. And the Muslim does not have reserves of wood. Any investment made on that front is going to be pricey right now. No room to rebuild the farmlands. He's got one new district up, but he's looking weak here. And Vortix, the only thing he's missing is replacement, right? He needs something on the front line, really. He's pushing these units across the battlefield, and he doesn't even have outposts to get them out quicker. He hasn't even scaled this up if you look at the numbers. Vortix is kind of just investing a lot of his wood influx into forward outposts, when really he benefit a lot from investing it into forward military buildings as well. Once more into the breach, Spearman able to buffer him away. These Spearmen get quite strong, but they are only veterans right now. And he didn't even get his hands on the riveted chainmail, so they don't even have the additional melee armor. Just gonna buy him a little bit of time. Is it gonna be enough though? Bombard, sneaky bombard, going for the snipes. We'll back away. Spreel not able to finish it off. That's a big deal. Repairs can actually go onto that, and the Muslim, that's important. He's trying to min-max this. He does not have much surplus food, gold rather, or wood remaining to work with. And the Sprills, oh, they need to get the shots out. Repairs are going to be there, though. The Muslim doesn't care. Uses all the villagers, and the Mangonel shots coming in, doing the damage now. The repair force is going to die. Oh, that hurts. This front line won't last either. Mangonel shots in again. Lagstick down to half HP. Front line folding. Mangonel to be sniping into that bomber. Bombard to fall. And Vortix finding the bang for buck again. And straight away, what does he do? Oh, your military's dead. Time to go after the villagers. It's like classic Mongols. We'd be back every 20 years to raid your territory. Make sure you have tribute for us. And no, forced to invest in the repairs. The Culverin's still being burnt down, though. Not able to finish it off. Khan just about peels away in time. Lance is going to be left behind. Gets the Culverin up. Mangonel's being rebuilt. More Sprills coming out as well. Vortix never letting up. The Muslim feeling like he's running out of time, space, and resource. Space, definitely the most important resource for him. really needs this influx of wood. He needs it for both the siege, but he also needs it for the farmlands, really. As he begins to scale more eco, he needs that wiggle room. He needs to be able to afford the additional farmlands to push out more military units. Not to mention he needs the wood for the military production buildings. That's where he's starting to lag behind. You can see on the count being doubled up at this stage in the game by Vortix. Vortix not feeling threatened or a necessity to go up into Imperial at any stage because he's always preventing the Muslim from realizing his potential up here a whole age ahead. Mangonels looking for shots in. Needs to get rid of the villagers. Culverin's going to snipe him out. Folding away from this. Crossbow backing up. We'll get some trades out in the spears. And this outpost network slowly wiggling its way a little bit further forward. The Muslims still trying to produce out some of these racks and just losing units for freebies. Lances every time. You can see he's just trying to gamble, trying to get in onto the Culverins. The beautiful thing is, even if he doesn't reach the Culverin, look what it's exposing. It forces your melee comp to come into range of all these crossbowmen. It forces your villagers to expose themselves to all these crossbowmen. It's so worthwhile for Vortix. He's finding so much value out of this. The crossbow's always able to back away courtesy of the Yan movement speed, preventing the Muslim from gap closing here. And barely any spearmen. The Muslim, he's being drained dry. Look at the food. Look at what Vortix has managed to achieve. He's scaling up. He's taking up. It's underway. And it won't take him long either. He's going up for the big boy mode. White Stupa underway. And still staging a healthy military vanguard into Muslim's base. And that vanguard is gone. Look at the bombard and the Culverin, the villagers. They're not there. He tries to peel them across. The Culverin is going to be sniped in time. It's going to be close. He keeps it alive. And that is a critical detail. But now the crossbow, they see the wood line, they go in. In the meantime, Lancers, they can just peel off. Time wasted. You're not gathering on the gold. You're losing your wood line as well. And you're just dancing with the Lancers you can never touch. And it's a heavy hit again. Vortix now up to 128 eco. The Muslim down at 58. He never seems to find a way to get that golden number, to scale himself up. And look how desperate he's getting on the food front. We talked about this. He doesn't have surplus wood. He can't afford more farmlands. And when you're being assaulted like this, you don't want more farmlands. You're just going to get burnt to the ground quickly and give more golden food over to the Mongols. So instead, he's risking it for the biscuit on the berries. Bombard's finally able to get that little bit of breathing room to start getting through the outpost, but not for long. Because Vortix, he's prepping himself. Remember, he just teched up. That's why he's a little bit weaker. That's why the Muslim feels confident to push out. He's got a lot of bombards, but this is a heavy investment. Make no mistake, folks. If he loses this siege battalion, it's probably just over. Now, Vortix, remember, he's been taking these fights without the tech upgrades. Tech upgrades that the Muslim was never able to afford due to being pinned in like this. And he would have loved to have had the Elite Langsnack, the Elite Spearman. So much more effective HB. But now that's something Vortix can think about. They can probably easily get access to. Backs up to build Spirals in the meantime. Remember, we talked about the shutter triggers. He'll get that research soon enough. Culver in the meantime being targeted out. Spirals trying to finish it off, not able to do so. We'll get in range onto the bombards, onto the Spirals, forcing them back a little bit more. Front line is folding quickly. The Muslim doesn't have enough troops here. Crossbows should be able to hold them back, but a few Spirals are going to fall in the meantime. As that's happening, Repair Force will come out. The Muslim gaining more ground. More ground in his own base. He's been trying to reclaim this for a very long time. Need more outposts they need to worry about. And it looks like the Spirals are going to be cancelled. One of them left behind. The Muslim does get his base back. At a much needed point as well. He was running out of room, running out of resources. This wood line was almost depleted dry. And a critical detail there is the Muslim looks like he might have a foot back in this game. But he needs to move fast. Because, well, Vortix, this was all while playing from behind on the tech side. You see it now. He drops the Siege Workshop. Shutter triggers, improved shutter triggers. Means that he's going to have more range than the Muslim. The Muslim, this Culverin, it's not going to be good enough anymore. The Culverin will not be something you can rely on now. If anything, I wouldn't invest more into it. I think if he goes for Culverins here, he kind of just throws the game. Courtesy of the fact that these Spirals are going to go up to 13 tower range, which is an absurd number when you consider that Culverin costs so much more and should be a better counter. Yes, they do more damage individually and have more health, but they won't have the range to utilize either. So many Spirals being built by Vortix. He understands just how strong he is in this game right now. He understands that despite the fact the Muslims recovered his base, what has he recovered? Like, what is there left to recover? He must have, like, in Vortix's eyes, although we can see he hasn't drained the gold, he'll assume everything at the back of the base has been drained. He saw the wood lines have been drained. So he understands that now Muslim has to come out into the midfield without actually reaching critical mass of eco yet. He's getting there very quickly, courtesy of the Pounce of Swabia, AK4 T Season 1, aka, you know, you buy one, you get free. It's an amazing tool for the HRE. There's no doubt of that. But really, the hemorrhaging of villagers constantly stopped him from reaching the critical mass, and is why he's not looking as formidable as he should have at this point in the game. Vortix moving out again. Sending a few villagers, wants to renew that outpost network, wants that Yan movement speed to quickly gap close. Man-at-Arms now being pushed forward as well. Crossbowmen have not been upgraded just yet, but the upgrade's about to complete. And now they are spooky. Meanwhile, the Muslim doesn't have the numbers still. Remember, it's just 2 gold relics. And he's been having to reinvest a lot into, you know, buying into woods, having to build more siege weapons up, get the techs. There's so many techs to get, in fact. Like his man-at-arms, his Langsneck, Spearman. You would not think that this lad is up in the Imperial Age if it was not for the siege weapons. And now trying to stonewall himself in. He's going to get stonewalled by Vortix's Mangonels. Spreel's looking to snipe out into the Culverins. Moving in with the Yan movement speed. Able to get around the side of this stone wall. Stone wall is also preventing the bombards from firing. Spreel's stuck in that choke point right now. The front line is holding for the moment for Vortix. Vortix backing up the crossbows. Needs to worry about the Langsneck. Doesn't want to stack too hard. Spreel's are wrapping round though. The villagers will peel back. And Spreel's not really using their range yet. Staying in range of the bombards. Will finally get the angle. Will not be denied by this awkward mountainous terrain anymore. And they will be able to assassinate it all into Muslim. That's problematic. Wood and gold is finite for him right now. And now, you're about to make another donation to the Vortix Foundation. There's a Mangonel coming, and there are so many farms. Not again. I feel like we're just repeating history at this point. What is the point? Oh my god. So much food and gold. Money! Life is so easy right now for Vortix. The Muslim is just not only failing to scale his own economy, he's actually scaling Vortix's every time he rebuilds these farms. I think this is over, folks. The Muslim, like, he's drained dry. He's got nothing left to give. And the villager army won't be able to save him this time. GG is going to be called. Vortix showing a dominant Mongol display on Hill and Dale. Oh my god, what a way to do it as well. This just looks surgical. Just such a... honestly, you kind of feel a little bit depressed almost for the Muslim. Like, the way he got forced to play this game, so well identified by Vortix, stripping the ability for the early access to the relics courtesy of the outpost. Then immediately backing it up with cheap spearmen that don't even need to win a direct fight with man-at-arms. The whole point is they have Yan movement speed to kill the prelate and delay you further. Every minute is so costly for the Muslim in this game. And although he makes the gamble and gets paid on that midfield relic at one point, it's still so late in the game that Vortix begins to scale himself. Vortix gets past that uncomfortable phase, gets into a second TC, and proves that actually the HRE aren't the only civs that can be greedy on this map, and he didn't even need a silver tree to do it.